Hello YouTube family and friends. So welcome to the channel. This is Red with Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions, and also we do Mustang Fanatic Mechanic Edition. Here to the channel. All things Mustangs, car shows, cruise-ins. We're mostly Mustang fanatics, and also you get Mustang Fanatic Mechanic Edition, where we solve and work on electrical problems, motor problems, check code engines, brake jobs. We do it all here. So stay tuned to the channel, and we hope you like and subscribe it. This is Red with Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Mechanics. Red with Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions Mechanic Edition. Mechanic Edition. Mechanic Edition. Today we got my daughter's Nissan Altima 2.5S. You guys see me work on this before. I did the water pump on this vehicle. Also did some work on the throttle body. We also did work on motor mounts on this thing. We also did valve cover gaskets on this. And suspected problem, rear brakes. So we may need some brake pads in the rear. So we'll let you get a shot up. It's a 2012 Nissan Altima 2.5S. I love these little Altimas. They're pretty nice cars, easy to work on. So we're going to get her chalked properly, jacked up, blow off these rims, and we're going to look at the brake cover through the brake inspection hole to see if we need rear brakes. We're going to have a look at the rear brakes just to be on the safe side. And this is a 14 millimeter that I loosened this up with. Now what I want to do is take a screwdriver well, let me go get one. And what I'm doing is sticking it in between the brake and the caliper to push the piston in, so it'll come loose easier and I can put it back together. So all we need to go in just a little bit. Now we take the sliding pin loose. And we're gonna swing it downward, and that will expose the brakes. We'll take this top pin out. And now we'll pull the pad out. Yeah, these pads got plenty of brakes on them. They're not bad at all. So we'll just put a little we'll clean this out. Just getting the dirt and debris from out of here. And we'll give it a little bit of grease. We'll put a little bit of grease on the ears as well. And then we'll just slide this pad right back on here. Now we'll put a little bit right around this metal part of the piston. And we'll close that back up. We'll grease this sliding pin. And we'll put that sliding pin back in. This one here, we'll unscrew it right to there. And we'll put some grease right on that. And that grease will slide right down in there. So now we'll tighten this back up. Okay, we'll put that tire back on. We're done with this. So right away I could tell it's the front brakes. I can look right down in between here and I can see we have very little brake pad. And I can't get a good view of the inspection hole. See if I can get it sideways here. But if you can see through the inspection hole, you can see that those pads are worn. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. Pretty much the same as the rear. We just loosen up one bolt. I believe it's the bottom one I want to loosen, bring this up to the top. And we also want to get our trusted screwdriver and push the caliper in. That way the brake will come off easier. It'll lift right out. Well, it's got pretty decent pads on there, but the rotors seem to kind of got some scratches on the outside. Inside's not too bad. But yeah, it wasn't wearing properly. So let's go take a look at the other side. Okay, so we take my dual piston caliper and we push the piston in, which is going in nice and easy. And I got the hood up and I'm watching the brake fluid that it doesn't overflow in the reservoir. I'll probably have to take some out when I do the other side. And that went nice and easy. So we'll take that off. We got new brake hardware, so we're gonna be putting new hardware in here. So we'll pull up these old ones. And then we'll clean up around here, get all the dirt off it. We'll get our new hardware. We'll match them up. These look like the ones that went up top. And while we got them out, we'll go ahead and lube it. It's easier to do it that way. Now we'll get our bottom one. And we'll go ahead and lube the bottom. And we'll put the bottom in. And our hardware's in. Now we'll get our pads. We'll lube our pads on the ears. Certain way you got to push those back, the little prongs back inside there. There we go. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to pull loose our sliding pins, and we're going to make sure those slide. Oh, those are tough. We'll wipe the old grease off. We'll put some new sliding grease on these pins. And we want to just twist them in. You hear it pop, and see, now that works a lot better. Now on the top sliding pin, you just take the bolt loose, slide the brake back up here. That one's kind of tight too, so we'll get the old grease off that. We'll get the new grease on here. We'll slide it into place. Heard it snap. Now see how much freer those move? They're much happier. Okie dokie. Now we can slide. Well, there's one thing else I want to do. I like to grease around this. Okay. Now we can slide the pad over and begin to get our bolts in. Now another thing I like to do on these, I like to add a little bit of the blue Loctite. There we go. It was just clogged up. A little bit of the blue Loctite and make sure these don't back out on me. Now we'll take this bolt out and we'll put some of the blue Loctite on here. Then we can put this bolt back in. Get my 14mm. And we tighten them up. We want to do them together. Okay, give them a couple of hits. And then you want to roll this around, make sure you hear no scraping. No scraping. Okay, now we're going to put the tire back on this side and we'll be done with this side. So I didn't film the other side because basically it's just the same exact thing except you're doing it on the other side. Just remember the hardware that comes with the brake kit. If you get the Duralast Gold, just remember the upper from the bottoms are different, and when you put them on, make sure you spin the axle so that the little pins aren't squealing on the side of the hardware. And then also remember to take out the sliding pins, wipe the old grease off, put the new grease on, slide them back in, make sure they slide easy out and in. Put a little brake lube around the piston, the metal part of the piston where it makes contact to the back of the brake pad. And remember to put the brake lube on where the ears of the brakes and where the ears make contacts on the hardware. And then when you get the caliper in place and tightened up with the Loctite on, make sure you push it in and out, make sure the caliper flows free, and make sure nothing from the brake reservoir do any overflow. And lastly, remember to pump the brakes when you get in, because if you try to drive it, you're not going to be able to stop. They'll go to the floor, so you got to pump the brakes. And also on passenger vehicles, I like to torque them between 90 to 130 foot-pounds, 105 foot-pounds is what I do on passenger cars. So I'll get my torque wrench, I'll tighten that down, and you know what? I think I work too hard. You know what time it is. Time for Mustang Fanatic Productions commercial break. We'll be right back. I tell you what never gets old. Strapping myself in to this 5 harness cam locking seatbelt. Never gets old. And another thing that never gets old, reaching back, grabbing my steering wheel off the steering wheel rack, putting her in, listening to that ding, the ring ding. And then when we go to crank her up, that's our constant 12-volt source that powers up a lot of the interior lights, the gauges. This one fires up my automatic fan or my auxiliary water pump for the supercharger. And then all we do is push the clutch in, and here's our push to start. And she starts up. That never gets old. I love it. It never gets old. Mustang Fanatic Productions. God bless. Okay, we back. And this is my torque wrench, and I have it set at 105 foot-pounds. And the same way that I did the torque pattern on the vehicle when I put it on, you're gonna go on a crisscross pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm gonna go around and do all the tires at 105 foot-pounds. So nothing to it, changing the front rotors, or should I say brake pads, on the 2012 Nissan Altima. Very simple job, nothing hard. And if you had to change the rotor out, the only thing you would do is take the caliper off, and those are free floating rotors, so the rotors will come right off. If they're stuck, just get a mallet and tap it and they'll come right off. That's all to it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button, and you guys have a God bless day. Rev it up, Mustang Fanatic Mechanic Edition.